program. If there's any other family members that feel like they would like to stand and share, we'd invite them to do that, and leave that to your discretion. Dave Sieglinger.
First of all, I'd like to thank you people for having us to your beautiful state. While we're from Long Island, New York, and we have the Atlantic Ocean there, which is a beautiful thing in its own right, but I have to say, since I've been in Montana, I have never seen scenery like I've seen since I've been here. That being said, I would like to just take a second and mention that I was contacted by the email back in October last year, I believe originally by Dallas's grandfather, and it really caught me off guard. This event, unfortunate event, happened 15 years ago, and I had asked just a little while ago how old Dallas is, and he's 17 years old, so he was only 2 years old when this crash happened. And it just totally caught me off guard that a young man would have such consideration after this much time to make this effort on behalf of my brother and Robert Shaw. And I want to give him special thanks for that. I found as a former scout leader when the guys brought the colors in, I wanted to give the scout salute here. I have to say in our troop that we had some kids make Eagle also, and this project that I see here today is so far beyond what I saw any other kids do to this point. It shows so much time and consideration and effort on Dallas's part that on behalf of my brother and our family, I'd really like to give him special thanks for this. Very well done project. Quickly about my brother, he was a heck of a guy. Going back to the original service that we had right when the crash happened, my dad said that he was a man among men, and he truly was. He really was a guy that anybody that met him just was taken by first of all, he was a character. He wasn't just a normal run-of-the-mill kind of guy at all. He was full of adventure, he was full of life, and heck of a great guy. Fun-loving guy. So he would certainly want everybody here today to take this event as something to enjoy, not as something to mourn that they were in a crash. So, I'm sure he's up there today just looking down, shaking his head, not believing that this is happening on his behalf. So, again, thanks for that. And without hogging the whole program here today, we did have the opportunity to climb that mountain this morning, and I used to think I was in good shape. Anyhow, when I got up to the top there and on the way up there, I had a chance to look out at some of the scenery, I guess off to the, excuse me, because I don't really know what's northwest, east, south here, but I guess that's to the northwest, southwest. And it's just fantastic. It's just so beautiful. I can see why you people love living in this country, and something to be proud of. And again, just something about Dallas. In this day and age when so many kids are sitting in front of television sets playing video games, for a kid to take this kind of effort and this much organization, on behalf of somebody that you never met, although it was somebody that was trying to preserve your area, that shows something. That shows something that goes way beyond the norm. And, so many kids don't do that now and just go into adulthood without putting effort into their lives. And to become an Eagle Scout is quite an achievement for a young person to do. From this point forward, he'll become an adult and there'll be things and challenges that'll come his way. But most teenagers just want to have a good time and not think about other people. And he certainly has. And, again, I really want to give him some credit for that. So, that being said, I'd just like to say, you know, if my brother's spirit is here, I couldn't think of a better place for it to be. I looked at the majesty of those mountains, and I said, boy, what a beautiful place. So, thank you.
I didn't know I was going to be speaking today, so this might be a little rough. I want to thank you all for coming and helping us think back about these two guys, my father and the First Officer Robert Shaw and their families for coming. I guess I'd like to just say a little bit about what my father meant to me and what Robert Shaw meant to me. And that is that they were two men that were really worth looking up to. Two men that kind of put everything on the line to help other people. And after my father passed, when I was fairly young, probably 13, 14, he's lived on as an example to me and as a father to me even after he's gone. And I think I've come a long way. Just trying to live up to the man that he was. To the families of Robert Shaw, I finally got to spend some real time with him today, up the mountain. Sorry again to keep you waiting, but mountains in Montana are apparently bigger than they look. It took us a long time to get up there, and it felt like longer coming down. But I got to spend some time with their family and Robert Shaw's family, and there's some great people. I got to see Robert out at the airport a few times when I'd go out and visit my father at the tanker base, and he was probably the most friendly, genuine man that I had met out there. He was again a man to look up to and a man to aspire to. I'd like to thank everyone in the Dallases for putting this together. I'm getting married on Saturday, and so the timing was a little rough, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to fly out here and say thank you to everybody that organized this and put it together, and put their donations and their effort and their labor and their time into just saying thank you to two men that weren't just great men, but were an example for everyone to follow. And that's about it. Thank you very much for coming.
I'd also like to thank you for coming and thank Dallas. And again, like Jackson said, we're really sorry it's Jan and my fault. We thought we could make it all the way up there, and we did. And we had made a memorial up there 14 years ago when my family came over. And we found the memorial and some of the flight suits. The flight suits were still there, and some of their shoes. And it took us a little bit. We spent a little more time than we probably should have up there. And like Jackson said, you know, his family and our family is bound together now because we've gone through something unique to us. And so we're very grateful for this other opportunity to come and remember. The pain never quite goes away. Robert was very special to us. And my dad passed away 3 years ago, or he would have been here also. Robert was a person who had a very big sense of adventure. But most of all, he wanted to help people. And he wanted to be a missionary. And unfortunately, he couldn't be a missionary because he owed too much college money. And so he did the next best thing, which was fight fires. And when I think about that and these guys, yes, we miss them. We wish they were here. But they died doing something special, and they died helping people. And that's the way they would like to. And if you have to die, I think that's the best way to do it, is to die doing something you love. And they loved flying, I believe. They loved fighting fires. They were together and they liked each other. And we're sad that they're not with us anymore, but they did a good thing. And gave their lives for their brothers, and according to Jesus, that's the best thing you can do. Show the most love is to give your life for your friends. And so I know Robert would have considered each one of you, and John also, his friends, and they would not have hesitated for a moment. Even if they had known for sure they wouldn't come back, they would have been in that plane and here, because that's where they were needed. So thank you so much for doing this memorial for them.
Any other family members want to take a minute? You're more than welcome to. We'll now be pleased to hear from Sarah Oxner, who will be singing Amazing Grace for us.
Yeah.
Close?
Yes, it does. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my soul to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed.
There's a few people we'd like to, or Dallas would like to specifically recognize and just give a moment to talk about the project here. First, from Trapper Creek Job Corps. There's a reason he asked me to do this, you know. Pat Mace. Pat, if you come on up, take a couple minutes.
Sure. Thank you. I'm the Union Cement Mason instructor up at Trapper Creek Job Corps.
Really close.
Okay. And I instruct approximately 20 to 24 students a week in the art and craft of finishing concrete. Dallas approached us about 6-7 months ago with some pretty detailed blueprints and filled us in on some of the history of building this memorial. I explained it to my students, and they were more than eager and proud to take part. Part of my task, the Job Corps' task, is to instill civic pride and civic duty in our students, and this project was a very good example of that. They enjoyed it. We worked on it from the ground up. They figured the quantities for the concrete, tied the rebar, did the backfill and compaction and the formwork, and they're very proud of this. They would like to have been here today, but they get 2 weeks off, and this happens to be that period of time, so they're at home with their family and friends as well. But thanks, Dallas, for allowing us the opportunity to work with you, and thank you.
Mario Locatelli was on the search and rescue crew that found the crash site. He's been a great help in this project, has sponsored a trail race that helped considerably with the fundraising. He also escorted the family up to the crash site today. It's our privilege to hear a few words from him. And
He may not be here.
he didn't make it back yet.
I don't think he was going to be able to make it yet.
Well, when you see him, tell him thank you. But he's been a big help too. I should have looked around for him first, shouldn't I? Okay, Mr. Holm, are you here? Before I introduce you, I want to make sure you hadn't left. Okay. Christian Holm is Director of Flight Operations at Neptune Aviation in Missoula. As a fellow pilot to John and Robert, we're honored to hear a few words from him and appreciate his willingness to represent that profession today.
Good afternoon. My name is Christian Holm. I'm the Director of Flight Operations and Air Tanker Captain for Neptune Aviation here in Missoula, Montana. I'd first like to thank Dallas Fadley for taking on this project. Your mark will continue here for decades. Often we forget the tremendous sacrifice of human life in the process of protecting our natural resources for our children's children to enjoy. I'd also like to thank the town of Stevensville and all the other unnamed people that made this dedication possible. But this is about honoring two very dedicated pilots, Captain John Sieglinger and First Officer Robert Shaw. I did not know these two aviators, but as an air tanker pilot, I have a deep bond. Time results in change. Tanker bases have nearly all been torn down and replaced. Inspection practices for large air tankers have become more detailed and personnel have changed. But what hasn't changed is the type of people flying the firefighting mission. For those that have been to the Porterville Air Attack Base in California, you may recall a sign that was above the entrance. It says, "Through these doors walked the best pilots in the world." John and Robert personified that quote. That sign now resides above the entrance to the new base operations building. It takes a special person to be an air tanker pilot, and they had what it took. I'm often asked, what is it like being an air tanker pilot? It's like being assigned at a fire station with periods of low activity, and then the next minute you're flying 8 hours, which is the maximum amount allowed. The excitement is not knowing where you'll be next. Every fire is different, and the challenge is extreme. There is no other flying like aerial firefighting. You may receive a dispatch on a moment's notice, jump into your aircraft, and go to a fire in another state and time zone. You'll be flying the most challenging fire weather conditions nature has to offer, and drop profiles that have you descending thousands of feet into deep canyons, releasing retardant to buy time for some hotshot crew that is barely holding the line. That is what draws the caliber of pilots like John and Robert to this type of flying. Only a small percentage of aviators have the skills and abilities necessary to do this type of flying. Most air tanker pilots have two passions, flying and fighting fires, and they do it very well. John was an A4 pilot in Vietnam. In addition to flying his P3, flew S2s, another type of aircraft used for fighting fires in California. John once said he liked flying air tankers so much he would pay to do it. Robert, according to the chief pilot that hired him, was the personification of a professional pilot. He said that Robert was very religious and deeply supportive to his family. The people that knew these great men have many fun stories and anecdotes to tell. There are a great many people within the firefighting community that still remember. Good can come from bad. The resulting policy change within the Forest Service has made one aspect of flying air tankers safer. It has been a pleasure to be here today and honor these men and family members and of two very dedicated aerial firefighters. These we shall never forget. Thank you very much.
We'd like to turn some time over to our local representative, Ron Stoker.
I'm Representative Ron Stoker, House District 87, Montana House of Representatives. Thank you, Scout Dallas, for your outstanding Eagle Scout project, the invitation to be here at this memorial site dedication. I'm representing legislators of the Bitterroot Valley, and they are Bob Lake, House District 87, Hamilton, Gary McLaren, House District 89, Victor, Representative Ray Hawk, House District 90, Florence, Senator Jim Shockley from the North Valley, and Senator Rick Leibel from the South Valley. Montanans have a history and a tradition of helping our neighbors and fellow citizens. On the 4th of July, we celebrate the birth of our nation and honor the supreme sacrifice it took to establish our country with all its freedoms. This time, we're here to honor the supreme sacrifice of the two pilots, John Sieglinger and Robert Shaw, that came a long distance to serve Montanans. We want to recognize their lives and how they died in serving Montana. We thank you, the families of John Sieglinger and Robert Shaw, for coming to this dedication in memory of your men that were willing to fly here and help save our homes and lives. Thank you from all Montanans. May God bless your time here in Montana, and God bless our nation this day and all.
Back here in Montana, our Valley County Eagle Scout is building a memorial to honor two fallen firefighters. 17-year-old Dallas Fadley is building the memorial at a Stevensville park to remember the two pilots who were helping fight fires on St. Joseph Peak in the Bitterroot in 1991. Fadley says his grandfather inspired him to take this memorial on as his project.
My grandpa told me this story and how nothing has been done to commemorate these two pilots and the sacrifice they made, so I just wanted to do something to honor them.
Fadley is trying to get the memorial finished in time for a ceremony on the 4th of July. He says family members of the pilots will come to the dedication of the memorial. If you want to help him out with the project, you can make a donation at the Rocky Mountain Bank in Stevensville in name of the Aerial Firefighters Memorial.